Hi, my name is Toma, and today I want to share with you a whole bunch of stories, um, dumb mistakes I've made deer hunting, and hopefully you can learn from all this. Every single story pretty much cost me a deer, so I think it's good to share these. So hopefully you will do the same with me. Leave a comment in the comment section what kind of mistakes you have done if it's not on my list, and hopefully you'll be more productive. The first one is do as much hunting as you can do. Last year, um, I was staying in the office late, working hard, and I decided, what, I could make it for the evening hunt, but I was kind of lazy. Evening hunts are always less productive. I decided to skip. I go to my land, arrive late, maybe an hour after sunset. And the next morning, I was looking at the game camera, and yeah, there was a big buck on the game camera exactly that time. The second one is have enough bullet with you. This is a story from a friend of mine. He was hunting on his grandfather's land, and he only had two bullets, 2 rounds with him. And he was like, yeah, I only need one. I'm accurate. Guess what happened? First time he shoots at a doe, miss. Second time, another deer comes in, exact same day, exact same time, and he injured a deer. He let the deer for like 30 minutes or an hour to bleed out, but it never happened. Started chasing the deer, and the deer ran off, and he couldn't put on a follow-up shot. So he ended up injuring a deer, driving it off. Not a good story. Make sure your equipment is 100%. This is another friend of mine. He came from, I believe, from Colorado, and he was doing a blind hunt, 180 yards. I guess it was a bumpy ride from Colorado to Texas, and he made a shot on a deer. Luckily, it was a clear miss. He didn't injure the deer. And then it turns out that during the bumpy ride, his scope got messed up. It's a long drive. So if you have a long drive like that, make sure when you arrive, your scope is on, your rifle is on. The next one is from a friend. Get your rifle ready. He made two mistakes. This is the same person. One, he had the safety on when he pulled the trigger. He was squeezing the trigger. You get nervous, anxious. He didn't realize that the safety was on and the rifle didn't go off. And the rear deer ran off. So the second mistake he did is not chambering around before the hunt. So he takes an aim on the deer, squeezes the trigger, click, deer heard that, ran off, cost him a deer. I'm gonna tell you a few stories about some of the public hunt mistakes I've done. One is not having a really nice spotting scope with me. This was, I believe, last year. I was sitting in the middle of a pasture, and two gorgeous bucks came in. This was a spike deer hunt, or antlerless. I saw a deer about 100 yards out. I knew it was a buck. I saw antlers, but I wasn't really sure if it was a spike or not. I couldn't really see the antlers. It was tall grass, it was already dried. And I had a dinky binocular with me, and I was looking at it. The deer was looking at me for like 5 minutes. And I wasn't really sure, so I didn't pull the trigger. And since then, I bought a really nice spotting scope. In the same exact situation, I would have had the time to pull it out and check the antlers. Cost me $1. The second one is not having a shooting stick. When I do public hunt, I don't really have a blind. I just have a lawn chair, and I figured, I can just put it on my knee or something, the rifle, and shoot that way. And when I arrived to the hunt, I didn't, I was practicing my aim, my hold. So I shouldered the rifle and it was all over the place. So to be honest with you, that kind of ruined my hunt because I wasn't certain if I can hold the rifle stable enough. So since then, I bought a nice tripod and I practice this at my house all the time. How to set up the lawn chair, how to set up the tripod, how to shoulder the rifle, all that. Very important. The next one is commit. Don't pass up. I think Steven Rinella said this. Don't pass on a deer on the first day of a hunt that you would be happy to take on the last day of the hunt. This happened this season. I was in Rock Springs, and I think it was a 3-day hunt. I think I passed on 8 deer because it would have been a long walk with the deer back, probably half a mile. Terrain is hard, and it was early in the season. I was like, I have time. And I passed on a lot of deer, and I shouldn't have done it. It was those small bucks, nothing exceptional. I was waiting for the big buck. Guess what? My freezer is empty right now, and it's December the 17th, and it doesn't feel good. I wish I could go back and take some of those deer. The next one is know the regulations where you're hunting. This cost me a big buck, an 8-pointer this season. It was a public hunt, and the land where I was hunting, it was in 2 counties. One had antler restrictions, the other did not. I thought that I was hunting in the county where there was antler restriction. I saw this huge buck. It had a really nice, tall set of antlers. But I wasn't really sure. The antlers were not wide enough. They were super tall, but not wide enough. I don't think it was 13 inches, but it was big antlers, 8-pointer. And I passed on it. He was looking at me. He was 37 yards out, beautiful, cloudy morning, just beautiful set. And he was looking at me for like 5 minutes. And I wasn't really sure if it was legal. I didn't take him. And I Googled the map, and it turns out that I was in the no antler restriction county, and I let him go. It would have been the biggest buck I shot to the day. This one also ties to the make sure that the equipment is good. There were 2 times when my feeder just didn't work. The battery drained all the way. And what is upsetting is that the second time I knew that it was dying because it's a spinner type, and I was doing the hunt, and I heard that it was kind of weak. It didn't go fast. So just make sure your equipment is in order. If you hear something weird, you see something weird, look at it, because it's going to bite you in the ass. It's going to come back. And I left hoping that my feeder is going to go, even though I even had one of those handheld voltage measuring devices. I could have checked the battery. I did not. I left. A week later, I come back. Uh, the the spinner wasn't working, and I was checking the game camera. Yeah, for like 3 or 4 days, I didn't have anything there. Other hunters in this area, they have feeders, so they probably went to that. And now I lost probably a week. It's going to be a few days for them to learn that my feeder is going. So another dumbass mistake I did 2 years ago. That was actually the first year when I bought this place. Uh, I was a rookie, to be honest with you. I do a lot of land clearing, and don't if you're serious about hunting, don't do anything else. It was the middle of the hunting season, and I have one designated area for hunting, and I went to the opposite of my land, hoping that if I make any noise there, it wouldn't hurt, they wouldn't hear it. Uh, so I started cutting down trees with a big ass chainsaw. And guess what? I did not see anything for the rest of the hunting season. I don't know if it was the smell of the gas, the noise I was making, um, but I didn't see anything after that for a few weeks. The other thing I have in this cabin, I have a diesel heater, and diesel doesn't burn clean. I noticed whenever I run that thing, I think they smell it, especially if it's humid. The vapor, all the smell sticks to the ground, and they smell that thing. Um, so this season, and I'm shaking right now, I don't run the heater at all. I'm cold. I've been here for 3 days, so yeah, but it's totally worth it because today I saw 2 deer. Um, Probably the biggest mistake I've made, and it cost me at least 3 deer, is not having the rifle ready. I always think that either, oh, nothing is gonna come in, it's already late in the day, um, or it's too warm, so I have my rifle next to me against a tree or something. And guess what? The deer walks in, and by the time I shoulder my rifle and I aim and I put my finger on the trigger, it's gone. Not because they smell me, it's just they walk. They continue to walk. I try to call them, try to stop them, and it doesn't help. They don't stop, especially bucks. They just keep on walking. They are alone. They don't stop. So always have the rifle ready to shoot. Let that sucker ready. That means you have it, you shoulder it, round is chambered, and safety is off, and finger on the trigger guard. So you just have to move the finger onto the trigger, and you're ready to roll. I think this is the most important one. This is at my land about 2 weeks ago, and here I actually have a launcher and a piece of plywood before me, so I was kind of reckless, to be honest with you. Oh, the plywood is gonna cover everything, all my movement. Well, it did not. Uh, the feeder is 56 yards out, I believe, and I was moving again very fast. And right when I was moving, I noticed there was a buck like 20, 25 yards out. Again, just looking at me from the bush, and it was a legal buck, huge antlers, just looking at me. Same thing, I had my rifles down, and so 2 lessons, right? Don't move and have the rifle ready. Um, And he left about 5 seconds in, and I couldn't take a shot. Next one is feeder time. Uh, it's very important to get the time right on your feeder. 2 years ago, I set the time on my feeder for the morning feed too early. I think it was 20 minutes before legal shooting time. And guess what happened? Feeder goes off, and a bunch of deer came in like 5 minutes after, not shooting time yet. And I watched those deer. I also had like a light, coming on for pig hunt. I saw them for like 10 minutes just eating the corn, and I couldn't do anything. And it was one of the most frustrating experiences I ever had hunting. Nice family. The next one is movement. First of all, you shouldn't move. My method of hunting, I have a lawn chair, I don't have a blind, so every move I make, it highly shows. And even worse, when you do a public hunt, you wear orange. With the camo stuff, that's huge contrast difference, right? So any movement you take is gonna show. So first of all, yeah, don't move. If you have to move, always look around first. And while you're moving, move very slow. While you're moving, just constantly watch for animals. You have to pick your nose, for example. Just slowly. I have a few stories about this. It was this year's public hunt. I had orange on, and I don't know, I wanted to move. I didn't have a blind or anything, just a lawn chair. And first of all, I kind of gave up on that hunt, so I started moving, doing stupid things. And while I was doing, I don't know, scratching myself or something, I see 3 deer watching at me, like 100 yards out. And they're looking at me, and I start reaching for the rifle, but at that point, it was already gone. It was already done. They saw me, and they were looking at me like, dude, we can totally see you. And they just hauled ass. They left. I tried to stop them. They didn't stop. So, and on the same hunt, I had another one just like that. I gave up on the hunt, and I moved suddenly, and the deer busted me. So the lesson I learned from this is for myself. I don't recommend you to do this. That orange stuff is great when you move so other hunters don't shoot you. However, moving forward, what I'm doing, and that's what I did the last day of the hunt, and I didn't get busted. Once I settle in, I put the orange vest and the head down next to me. So it's visible. It's visible. Other hunters will know. They know that I'm there. But if I have to scratch myself or move, I'm not going to be that visible, that exposed. Again, this is very stupid. Don't do it. You're going to get shot. But that's what I'm going to be doing. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you made any other mistakes, please let me know. I would love to learn about this so I don't have to learn these lessons all the time the hard way. So yeah, please, if you feel like you learned something valuable, I would appreciate if you would like it, maybe subscribe to my channel. I'll see you on the next one.